All right, we are live here on another episode of With That Being Said. I got three of my good friends so far from the military, men that I respect, men that I serve with, men that have been leadership roles, seen the ups and downs and everything. So I appreciate you gentlemen for being here. First of all, we got King Stewart. Hey Stu, give a little rundown of what you want the people to know about you, because I mean, you know, Stu is kind of a low key, so he ain't gonna want you to know too much about him.
Yeah.
So just let him know.
Um, Nothing much, man. I served my last tour with you guys. You guys have always been kind of guys I looked up to and I respected, and especially towards the end, like knew you was there front row to see what went down. So
Yeah.
but no, that's it, man. I ain't really got a lot.
Right. Okay. And then we got my man Peen from Misfit Leadership. Another guy that I know this guy's always been hard charger. So Peen, let them know who you are and what you about.
Hey, what up, fellas? I appreciate you having me on, man. Just I'm just a little misfit guy who messes up a lot, but loves hard, real passionate, try to go hard for the people. And you guys are all there. I mean, I think we all were a part of some rough times together. Try to make it through. I definitely, when I got to the point of leadership, three of you guys definitely set me off on the right track. So appreciate y'all, man.
All right. And we got Mr. Johnny Payton, you know what I'm saying, jack of all trades. One of you, saying, my brother, we worked, side by side during, well, you retired a little bit earlier than I did, but we was there holding down flight. And, like we met and took off real quick. So like, tell them a little bit about yourself, Johnny P.
All right. My name is Johnny Payton from New Orleans, Louisiana. And if I had to put a topic for this, I would say elevating your game after security forces, baby. So that's why we come together right now. It's been a pleasure, man. And whatever input I can give and knowledge I can, share, I would like to do that, man. So like I said before, thank you for welcoming me and everybody else here, man. So let's get into it, sir.
Right. I appreciate y'all being here. Because, there are things that I feel like, especially I've asked, some men from Black leadership to be here, like I said, because we've all held those positions, and I think we have our opinions about it. So we was just backstage. We were talking about COVID-19 and the coronavirus and so on and so forth. And Stu, you saying you have been in a job that tracks this even prior to the public's notification of it or the public's awareness about it, right?
Yeah. So we knew about it last fall.
Right.
And again, there's always some disease throughout the world. Now, this thing did grow at an alarming rate. So it did grow. But to be honest with you, I think everything that could have been done was done.
Right.
As far as like the spread, I personally don't think it is what everybody says it is, or everybody thinks it is, believes it is. But But I also don't want your YouTube to get pulled down right now. So but
I mean, and that's that's part of it, because we are allowed to have, it's kind of like that thing. And then if it gets pulled off because of something like that, then really, what are you trying to hide? That's the way I feel about it. Everybody should be able to have their difference of opinion, and not just regurgitate what you've been fed. Okay, we've been in a leadership position, so we think, and just I feel like I'm a natural born analyzer. I'm analytical by nature. I'm thoughtful by nature. I'm always thinking outside the box, here and there. So of course these questions are going to be raised. You know what I'm saying? You got something to say about what do you think about it, Johnny?
Well, right now I'm looking at everything, and I've had a couple of family members who actually contracted it around the country. My cousin, who's 2 weeks older than me, his son contracted it at football practice. And I can tell you this right now, as far as I'm concerned, it's the real deal, man. Mm-hmm. So I've been sanitizing. I've been doing what I got to do. My family's been doing what we got to do. Come home, get in the garage, take off my clothes, go straight upstairs, take a shower, But at work, I can say it is. unfortunately, we got personnel on base who are not following those rules, man. They're not wearing their masks. They're not utilizing the practices, the sound practices that the government has set up to protect us from
But I'm
this.
saying, okay, Johnny Payton, you say that word. When you say sound practices, right? Sound
Mhm.
practices. So this week, CDC says don't wear a mask. Next week, CDC says wear a mask. This week,
Right.
CDC says this. The next week, CDC says this. Fox says this. CNN says this. This one says this. This one says that. To me, from my observation, there has been no consistency. Okay, like, don't go to work, but hey, here, go to McDonald's, drive through. As long as you wear your mask, go
Yep.
to the mall, go to this, go to that. You know what I'm saying? People been missing funerals, people getting locked up in the hospital, can't go visit their families, but we need to keep the economy going. So it's okay for you to go to the grocery store. It's okay for you to go here, but just leave your loved ones out. So when we say sound, we can't say sound practices because nothing about this whole thing has been sound from the beginning, in my opinion. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. So we got countries around the world that have gotten past this because it was able to nip it in the bud, and people worked as a team to wipe out this concern that we're still dealing with right now. And clearly, it was a lack of leadership, right? I mean, leadership and consistency, right? But the sound practices are for us, the social distancing and stuff like that, wearing your mask, that made complete sense. Now, we all know a nurse or a doctor, right? Whether they're friends or family or whatever. And so what I did was, for me, I can only apply this to myself. I asked my wife, well, the CDC did say this, and then they changed their mind and said, what do you think? She told me, she said, well, Johnny, son, we wear masks to protect ourselves and stuff like that. So we probably should wear a mask to protect ourselves, not just in the hospital, but for every daily life and stuff like that, and sanitize. So to me, yeah, I get it. We didn't have strong leadership, and we all are smart enough to know that we didn't have strong leadership. But somewhere along the line, you would hope that people can take a step back and think about it, use a little bit of common sense to say, hey, man, well, protecting ourselves, sanitizing, social distancing, stuff like that, we can slow it down, at least until we got some kind of vaccination to protect us, if we chose to use that vaccination.
All right.
So that's where we're at right now.
On the coronavirus?
So for me, I feel like I do think it's a serious issue. I just have an issue with the way it's been, the way they've been dealing with it, right? From the beginning, right? So let's say, right, this coronavirus comes out. We've known about it, like Stu said, since, last October. But nobody really knows, right, what it is, right? Nobody really knows how to track it, test for it, right? How to cure it. And you're telling me we're having this big old pandemic or epidemic, and the primary thing that you tell me to do is regular hygiene, right? Then you say masks are important, but then you say it has to be a particular type of mask, right? Then you're like, no mask doesn't make any sense. Then you're like, any type of mask, just cover your face, right? And it's all over the place. I think I'd prefer for the leaders of these countries, of these nations, CDC, WHO, just to be honest, like, hey, man, it's crazy, it's serious, but we don't quite have a handle on it yet, all right? And that's why we're actually taking precautions, right? And then for people who, right, sound practices versus not sound practices, if it was one of them things where wearing a mask was just to protect you from something else, then I get it, right? You take the risk as you choose to. But if we're in a situation where you're not wearing a mask may endanger other people, right? Now, I mean, I can acknowledge and accept that we don't know whether that's true or not, but err on the side of caution and respect everybody else's wishes and well-being if that's the case. Me personally, I believe it is what it is. If I'm gonna catch it, I'm gonna catch it. If I don't, I don't. But I still wear my mask, to respect other people. I don't know. I know I did a little bit of research, back when the Spanish flu came out, right? They thought the mask was going to save us, and they went back to work with the mask, and it doubled. So you just don't know.
Right. I mean, and that's because especially, okay, so we talk about that, but regardless of I feel like this, you know what I'm saying? You know, we have the election just ended, you know, and, you know, we've all been a flight chief. Say, you know what I'm saying? Just as being a flight chief, being the leader of a group of people. And regardless of if you believe it or think it or not, you know what I'm saying? There was just a certain way that you had to behave as the leader to get to portray whatever it was, you know what I'm saying? Like if your flight is high in STDs or the base is high in STDs or whatever, you're gonna have to brief and you're gonna have to,
That's real.
You know what I'm saying?
That's real.
Like you're gonna have to tell these people, hey, strap up, have a safe weekend, boom, 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 bam, 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 as the leader, you know what I'm saying? And
always wear your helmet.
Right, you know what I'm saying, to get that compliance. So I feel okay. So as the leader that is enough, that has, do you feel like he handled that properly? Or
all right. So there's two countries that nip this thing in the butt. Whatever it is, it's Australia and China. So we don't know North Korea, we don't know Russia. A lot of these countries we don't know the numbers. We see it's blowing back up in Canada, it's blowing back up in the UK. Two countries that nipped it in the butt. China locked everybody down for months. Now Australia, the reason they nipped it in the butt is the last 3 days they've had 0 cases, but they just did like a 3-month lockdown. So what can you do to a group of people that won't be locked down?
Right. Americans are not going to do that.
When the American public was told, hey, you can go to the store, but I need you to lock down, everybody went and bought all the toilet paper.
Yeah.
We're not conditioned to say sit still for a long amount of time. So how do you govern a group of people that aren't going to abide by the rules? Look at Atlanta. Atlanta never really closed. Florida never really closed. It's places that never really close.
True.
And I understand that because people's livelihoods, if you close this thing down, people's livelihoods, it's gone. You know, some people are going to starve. Some people are going to lose their livelihoods. So how do you govern over a group of people that can't? Our system is built on us going to work, keeping the engine going. I don't know how you govern this group. I don't know how you do it.
Right. But I mean, like it is hard. I feel like it is hard. I mean, like there's been flights. There's you on the flight, you got your hard-headed troops, and you know the one I'm going, this one right here. You know what I'm saying? Like you gonna give me problems. But still, I feel like yes, America is going to be in America, and the people are not, you know, they have their rights. They have this, they have that, so much freedom. So to tell them, don't go outside, don't do this, don't do that, it's going to be hard to do. But still, you know, like I feel like the leadership catered to the side that is hard-headed. You know what I'm saying? Instead of like being like, okay, instead of, you know, like wearing them, you know what I'm saying? Like he just, Biden's got the biggest mask I ever seen. Every time I see this guy, he's got a mask on. You know what I'm saying? So if the commander if the commander gave some direction and you roast, you kind of heckling him about his direction to your flight, which, you know, you're gonna have a kind of rogue, you're gonna create a rogue type of thing that is gonna, you know, that attitude is going to be seen throughout the squadron, right?
Right. So here we are right now, Sad, and I get where you're coming from, right? And for Katrina, that is, of course, I was thinking about New Zealand was the one more successful than anybody besides China. But my big thing was right. So the privilege of being security forces was we didn't see outstanding leadership and how it trickled down and stuff like that, and how when you're a flight chief and you're consistent and you support the leadership and you don't stutter or stumble in your decision making when you're running things and stuff like that, and you hold people accountable, we get results. We know about getting results when we don't play no games. But when you put your heart out there and you lead with your heart and people see that weakness, they don't respect that at all. And so the president, although he managed the hell out of the country, he needed to step up and become a leader. But even with that being said, it's still on us who know what leadership is and know how to hold ourselves accountable and lead people. It's up to us to set those task conditions and standards. Y'all never heard this before. I'm not telling you nothing new, right? So even when they stumbled at the beginning, right, and then media didn't know what's going on, and CDC didn't know, and they were China-centric and stuff like that, the biggest problem we dealt with was, right, inconsistency. But at the end of the day, if you were able to sit down, and we all know how to investigate to find out what's baloney, what's concrete, what can we run, what do we need to stay away from. And I believe, although it was on our families to do that, as a cohesive unit for America, no, people are too stubborn, and some of them don't know anything about critical thinking and stuff like that to take it upon their own to protect everybody. So with the president being full of it and not being consistent and leading stuff like that, he was the one who let America down, even if he was trying to do right. So here we are right now. Can we get it right in the end? So we don't have to lose lives, whether they actually connected with Corona or they just throwing a label on it because they can't do the investigation because of Corona, you know what I'm saying, to get the numbers lower. That's where we are right now, man. So yeah, we can win with this. And the only way to win with this is to be consistent and to also protect ourselves.
All right.
Walk away.
Right. So, I mean, okay, moving on, but the last COVID-19 issue, what the new normal, where do you, are just going to turn into the flu? You know what I'm saying? Okay, yeah, a bunch of people got sick. It was kind of a little bit worse than the flu, but is there a vaccine going to be created that we get like the flu shot for COVID? Are we always going to wear masks? What do you think is going to happen from here?
I think we got to look at this and say, okay, all right, 200 and something thousand people died, right? So say 250,000 people died out of 350 million. Now, and when you look at this, they say 7 to 8% died from COVID only related. So that's like 16,000 people. So the survival rate of this thing is 99.98, 99.97.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I think is going to happen is you got the power of fear. So they're going to scare you into a vaccine or something like that and scare you into compliance. I think what we have to look at it and say, okay, that 99% survival rate. Like we gotta live our life and don't say, okay, what like I don't think this thing is gonna I think it's gonna go away. I think because Biden's here, I think it's gonna go away. I think they're not gonna talk about it anymore because of censorship. And they're going to say, hey, do this vaccine and we're going to press on with life. And then they'll call it flu or an extreme cold after this. And they'll be like, hey, Biden solved the COVID problem. That's what I think gonna happen.
I agree with you too. And I think, a little bit going back to the whole dealing with it, part of the problem, part of the big problem with the US is that the US is more like 50 little countries. You know what I mean? There's no real actual authority from the president to have to, direct or force each governor to do what he's telling them to do. It's more like, our situation, if we're comparing it to, the flight chief life, it'd be more like us trying to get the different flight chiefs on the same page.
Yep.
That's damn near impossible. And the other biggest problem is that they politicized the entire thing, right? It stopped very early being about trying to get through the pandemic and everything was politicized. So I agree with Stu. I think like I said, I still think it's serious, but I think because of the numbers and the way the body's made up anyway, right? We're naturally, resilient creatures in the first place. So I think they're just going to stop talking about it. I think
right, like all the bird flu, all the other pandemics that have kind of come and gone. This one has stuck around and affected, a little bit more. And I mean, like when I think about things, I'm not a super conspiracy theorist, but like I said, we've seen how the government does. Like all governments kind of work together sometimes to do little shady shit here, little shady shit here. So who's to say all along that, okay, hey, this is an experiment. Let's tell them there's a bird flu out there and let's see how they act. Okay, let's tell them it's a swine flu out there and let's see how they act. Let's tell them that the spinach over here got poison. Not saying that those things really didn't happen, but it's all leading up to, and then now, okay, we base worldwide exercise, worldwide pandemic. Let's use this. Throw it out there. It's worldwide. It's this. You just started in China. Spread here, spread here, spread here. Okay. And then now, like the whole world is scared and people are running out. Like you see, what I'm saying? It's like you see what I see is how people really are. You know what I'm saying? People on a day-to-day basis, we all like to think that we are good people. You know what I'm saying? But you saw the lack of community. You saw the lack of concern in how people really are, especially as Americans, to go out and buy so much toilet paper that you don't even need and not leave some for the next man. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like, oh, it'll never be like that. Okay, but I mean, why not? Why not? Why not? You can instill that mentality in everybody so we can try to take care of everybody in these types of situations. And it didn't even make sense to be buying toilet paper because what the fuck you gonna do with toilet paper? You know what I'm saying? Like, what you gonna do? It's just like you can see the stupidity of the whole thing from that point on, and how people are reacting to it, and how people, the nature of a lot of human beings really are. And then some of them go back and try to sell toilet paper for even higher price. Come on now, you know what I'm saying? It's all about it's horrible. You know what I'm saying?
That can show you how primal we got, because toilet paper is a comfort item. It's not a necessity. It's a comfort item. So we went and got primal because one person did it. And we was like, oh man, let's go do it. It's the thing to do.
And the news, hey, toilet paper's out, toilet paper's out. Y'all go get it, y'all go get it. And everybody look at the TV, oh no, go get the toilet paper. Let me go get the toilet paper. You know what I'm saying? And like even Costco sells everything in there is big. And they run out of toilet paper. Come on now.
Yeah.
I mean, while we on the break, what's up, Sam? What's up, Luke? Luke wasn't able to join him. I asked him to be in, but I mean, you know, he's a busy man. He couldn't join the conversation, but he's commenting. What's up, Katrina, and everybody that's joining in? Thank you all for leaving your comments in the conversation. And so, okay, we covered COVID-19. So, but that started at the beginning of 2020, right? So 2020 as a whole, okay, COVID hits, and then the George Floyd. Just let's cover the police aspect of America right now. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, as a black man, you know, and especially coming from the law enforcement and looking at certain things, I just feel like most of these cases are just due to horrible tactics. Like, where's the training? Where's the knowledge? You can say all of this, oh, their life is on the line, blah blah blah. Like I watched the video of the guy in Atlanta, the one that they shot. He tried to grab the taser and ran off, right? And to me, that whole thing could have been avoided first, you know, if you had used better tactics. Because first of all, you talked to this man for this long. You know what I'm saying? You could see he's not a threat. I mean, or if he was gonna pose that big of a threat from the beginning, your senses should have been up. You know what I'm saying? Like you done let him move his car and drive and do all this other kind of stuff, and you just too long, you know. So when they went to handcuff him, we always practice. You handcuffing, you got your spotter in front of it. Both cops was behind the dude. You know what I'm saying? So the dude is kind of like, you know what I'm saying, like a street dude, like, oh, I can dust them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gone. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody's standing in front of him. But if the partner had been standing in front of him, maybe that would have been a deterrent to keep him from running in the first place. Because, or you could have grabbed him, or you could have done whatever. Why both of y'all standing behind this guy? You know what I'm saying? And doing this. So it's like I just see a series of bad tactics, bad training on that part.
So here I'll jump in with this. I think up until he ran, I felt as though when he was able to grab that guy's taser, that guy should have been fired. Another guy for letting his partner taser get taken, he should have been reprimanded. So one fired, one reprimanded, you know what I'm saying? And then the one that was reprimanded retrained on doing his job. I think that would have been a fair assessment. And once he shot him and stuff like that, I don't know what he was thinking on that one. I can't say. But what I can say is up until that point, one should have lost their job, and another one should have been reprimanded. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. What say you?
All right. So first of all, with the policing, I think we've all had troops we all had troops that would go out there and write citations, but they would also get themselves into some sticky situations.
Right. When you hear the whole story, like, oh.
We all had those troops, and we know them. We send them out there when we need citations written, but they're going to get us into some mess. I think what we're seeing right now is what I think we're seeing coming to pass. First of all, there's always been issues with cops and their perception of who they're dealing with. But I think what we're dealing with now is when the state of policing got away from community policing. And this kind of happened after September 11th when we got when the police became like the first response to like terrorist attacks and stuff. That's when you started seeing the AR-15s, the Bearcats, the body armor, when they became the first responders to big incidents. So I don't think we have that community policing. I don't think we have that respect for the police. And I think, and this is going to be unpopular, I think it has to be on both sides. I think it has to be on the police, and then I think the individual has to want to survive the encounter. So I've been pulled over in West Virginia, and I'm big. I'm 6'3", 275. I've been pulled over in West Virginia, in the middle of nowhere in Florida in the middle of the night, Wichita Falls, Texas. I've been pulled over everywhere. In every situation, I respect the cop, and in most cases, I have a weapon close by. I'm respectful to the cop. I give him the respect of rolling my windows down. He can see my hands. I don't give him anything that says, okay, I need to be on my toes. Just like when we do traffic stops, we watch for things. We watch for hands. We watch for the windows. We want to know what's going on so we're safe. I don't give him anything in plain view where he can say, okay, that's probable cause to get in the car. I want to investigate. I give him a clear traffic stop. Even if he cites me, I say, thank you, have a good day, be safe. And I survive the encounter. I don't say, what you pulling me over for? I don't escalate the situation.
Right.
And then one more thing is I think people don't understand the use of force doctrine or the force continuum. So when you hear de-escalate, they're supposed to de-escalate. No, we're supposed to go off of the offender's actions. So when they escalate, we can escalate. So just like the situation with the guy in Philly, the guy in Philly has a knife. He's deadly force. I gotta go deadly force. I can't go taser. I can't go hands-on. I gotta go deadly force. The public has to understand there's a use of force continuum, and we have to roll with that. Now, again, there is bad cops, and there are some dudes out there doing some dirty stuff, and we've had troops that was out there starting stuff and getting us into stuff. So,
you know what? I concur with what Tim says, man. No doubt about it, man. We didn't had our tails handed to us in the superintendent's office and stuff like that. And I guess it just comes with the shield and the badge and stuff like that, and that obligation. If I can say this to any black man or black woman or whatever, I would say this. The biggest thing I'm starting to see with us is that we're in a world where we can't let our guards down. And in order for us to think our way out of it, we got to be clear-minded, man. And I would say don't drink, don't do drugs, you know what I'm saying, so you can calm yourself, listen to whatever the officers say, and be able to survive the encounter, you know what I'm saying, with no problems, where we can believe in cops. Now, as it stands, I've seen some shady stuff. We all have seen some shady stuff with local law enforcement. The worst type of cop is what? A lazy cop, right? And so it's not even a racist cop anymore. But I think right now for us, the world is unfair to black people, extra unfair to us. But it doesn't mean we can't shine, we can't elevate our game. I just think right now I would stay away from the drugs. I would stay away from the alcohol, especially the alcohol, and keep on living, man, and educate ourselves and go into those communities and show them how to live a peaceful life. Like Englewood. There's a difference between Englewood and Tehachapi, right? You understand what I'm saying? Like how people over in Tehachapi got that community aspect, everybody's pulling their own weight. In Englewood, it's survival of the fittest, you know what I'm saying, for us, the environment over there. What are they doing in Tehachapi versus what's going on in Englewood, California? You know what I'm saying? And in our community and stuff like that. And have we done enough to help our fellow man, whether it be black or white or other? And I don't think we have, man. So we got to raise our kids. Got to be the best spouse we can for those who are significant others we can, for those who are in our lives. But at the end of the day, I think it's going to take people like us to help people like them who got the short end of the stick because of those encounters and stuff like that to minimize those things by writing books, by doing public speaking, by writing, by anything, teaching about healthcare, teaching about how to live their lives. I will start off with passports. They don't know the world like we know the world from the things when it's done. Give them a reason to live, to lay down their arms and stuff like that, like in Chicago. You know what I'm saying? What would it take to solve that? Men like us. I say about 5,000 men like us to go over there, get all those guns, get those boys out of those neighborhoods, you know what I'm saying, and teach them how to be men. Y'all saw it on National Geographic where they had something, so I think a rhinoceros, or elephant killing rhinoceros and stuff like that. And so they brought in an older male elephant. And what it did was it stopped the other one from acting a fool and taught them how to be an elephant. That's the same thing for us being men. Black men need strong black men, because without strong black men, we won't have black men. All right, guys, that's my time, man. I got that look I told you about a little bit earlier. All right, it's time for me to get down.
All right, we appreciate you joining in, Johnny. Thanks for the conversation. Maybe, like I said, hopefully we can have a few more of these. And I know you'll be starting up your podcast. I've been trying to get you to do it one of these days. You know what I'm saying? Just find a block of time to where she won't look at you with that look. You know, like, hey, look at you look at her back, like.
Respect and love each and every one of y'all. Thank y'all, man. It's been a pleasure talking with you and hearing me out, hearing y'all guys out, man. I respect y'all so much, man. To the moon and back. You heard me? Peace.
Right. All right.
All right, Johnny. So for the police thing, I think it's deeper than all of that. Right? I think all those are issues, but I think ultimately there's a lack of accountability on both sides. Right? Lack of accountability on the public side, lack of accountability on the officer side, right? You talked about how, sometimes we got those crazy troops that go out there trying to start some stuff, right? And you support that troop and you don't want to shoot them down, in certain ways, but there's a way to go about being a leader. And when that troop step out of line, to redirect them and put them back where they need to be. You know what I mean? And then you have on the public side, like for me, I've been pulled over several times, right? And 9 times out of 10, when I get pulled over, I know why I'm getting pulled over, right? So when somebody's like, "Why did you pull me over?" when you know why they pulled you over, right? Or you acting like you don't know what they talking about when they told you why they pulled you over, right? You have to have accountability for yourself. Now, are police officers held to a higher standard? Of course they are, right? And sometimes these guys step out of line. The problem I'm seeing with the public right now is that a lot of the reason why they don't get the results they want is a lot of the ones that they take issue with are good shoots, right? So like the Philly one, I had a couple friends here, and I had to tell them, like, it was a good shoot, man. That's a good shoot. Not only is it a good shoot, I probably would have shot him faster. Yeah. Right? Because he's aggressive. He's not listening. I'm like, his mama was there trying to call. If you're not listening to your mama, how I'm going to expect you to listen to some white dude pointing the gun? Right? But on the flip side again, right? Lack of accountability. The Atlanta example you gave is right. We're taught. I know at least us. I don't know what they're taught in Atlanta. That the only time I can shoot somebody as they're fleeing is if I expect them to do lethal or egregious harm to somebody while they're fleeing. Exactly. This person has a taser that's used, right? And other than trying to flee, he showed no intent to harm anybody else. So why am I shooting him?
Right.
So it's accountability on every side. And you see some of those videos where a police officer goes up to somebody and they were wrong, right? Supervisor comes in and you expect them to support them, but in no way, shape, or form is there any accountability where they're redirecting them, like, all right, yeah, he probably shouldn't have did that. I'll talk to him, but I still need you to calm down. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like some level of accountability. And I also think I also have a hard time with people comparing responses from 2 different police departments. Right. I get in the argument all the time, like, you can't. It's not a fair comparison unless it's really you can barely compare the same police department unless it's the same person, right, reacting differently in 2 different situations. You really can't compare the two. It's too much, and then the public just doesn't understand the nature of the beast. Right.
And I mean, and that I feel like that is also an educational piece on, I think the average Americans feel like I have rights. They don't know what those rights really are. They don't, you just know I got freedom of speech. I got rights. You know what I'm saying? So in a lot of instances, I mean, and then, we get fed, okay, you'll see a black guy, getting shot, getting beat up by the police. But then they'll show a video of a white guy doing way more than we know that we could ever get away with. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure there's instances out there to where, it hasn't been the case. You know what I'm saying? The white guy got treated the same way the black guy did or whatever. But be it right or wrong, good or bad, that is what feeds into the mind of the general public. You know what I'm saying? That's what the basic student American sees. So they got rights. That's wrong. That's good. That's bad. So I mean, like I said, like in those, as a because we have an experience from both sides of the coin, pretty much. We've been on the law enforcement side. We've done traffic stops. We've done this, but we also are black men, and we know, okay, I got to conduct myself like Stu said. I'm gonna put myself in his shoes, and everything that I'll be thinking for him right now, I'm gonna take care of that. You know what I'm saying? Mostly because I don't want no trouble. I don't want no smoke from this guy. You know what I'm saying? But there's a million other young, old, whoever people who don't have that. They just know, hey, I'm black, he's a cop, this or that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, the general thing is to be respectable, but a lot of Americans just feel like I got rights. So if you're not really doing anything or whatever it is, and the cop walks up to you and says, hey, such and such and blah blah blah, because you have those ones who start off just wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, verbal judo. I mean, in Raven School, like verbal judo of how to de-escalate. You can de-escalate a situation just by the way you talk to somebody, just by the way you appear to somebody, just by the way you present yourself to somebody. So you can me standing like, hey, you know what I'm saying, hey sir, whatever. But me saying that same thing with my hand on my pistol already, you know what I'm saying? Like most communication is nonverbal. So you see in my nonverbals, I'm acting friendly, but why is my gun, my hand on my gun? And I'm black. So I know y'all be shooting black people, whatever. So why is your hand? I haven't even done anything yet. I haven't been a threat yet. Why is your hand already, on the defense? So it's just kind of like those types of things of where, the people, the public, oh, I got rights. So that's why you get the certain people who like questioning certain things and like seeing the other side of the coin and being, like just being steered in the wrong direction. Like I'm back home in Mississippi right now, right? I go out to the club one night, so not really the club. I went out to the bar to have a drink, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. Like Johnny Payton's like, oh, I think all black men should stop drinking, whatever. I'm like, but like, do you see how, like, is that really what I'm saying? I get what you're saying, but why? If they can, why? You know what I'm saying? That makes me feel like, why? So I'm here. I meet a guy, he bought me a drink. I bought him a drink. We talked, chit chat, whatever. And so, we peruse the club, just a cool conversation with this dude. And so he was talking to a girl. Something happened. The girl busted him in the head with a bottle. Club closed. We walking out. So coming from first responder, coming from just whatever, I see the dude. I'm like, hey man, are you all right? Hey, move away from here. Blah blah blah. I'm like, all right, sir. All right, like, go put him in cuffs. Cuff like that. Put in the back of a patrol car. No search, no nothing. I'm in the back of a patrol car going to jail just for asking the dude, are you all right? You know what I'm saying? So in that instance, I was not Miranda'd. I was not told about my rights. I said, why am I being arrested? Why am I being detained? Oh, you drunk in public and disobeying, like public disturbance or whatever, disturbing the peace. And I'm like, okay, first of all, how do you know I'm drunk? You know what I'm saying? I haven't been given a field sobriety test, no breathalyzer, no nothing. So you cannot say I'm public drunk. You don't even know if I had anything to drink at all tonight. You know what I'm saying? You don't know anything. Spent the night in jail. $1,000-$1,500 later, I'm just for being like, hey man, are you all right? You know what I'm saying? And it was a black cop who initiated the whole thing. So it's just, from that experience, there have been a lot of people in my same experience who did not come out alive. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Who didn't live through it. Unfortunately, because of, like I said, like this, the putting yourself, like I'm saying, like I try to put myself in the certain situation of how, like just, and as a cop, as somebody who knows, okay, well, you can control a situation if you don't arrive on scene and the shit is already going down, then you got the upper hand. You know what I'm saying? Like even if no blows have been thrown, no knives have been pulled, no nothing like that, you can kind of you want to keep it at that level. And you can do that by the way you present yourself, by the way you talk, by the way whatever. You know what I'm saying? And you have to be able to, you're supposed to be able to discern, like, hey, if I need to be like, hey, you get over there, you get over there. If I need to be stern and I can get y'all in control, or maybe I need to be like, hey, fellas, you know what I'm saying? Like you can approach a different situation, but that is part of your job, and is to be able to do these scenarios or go through these scenarios. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just what I'm saying. Like as much as we exercise, because we came. I feel like we came from an easy, cushy law enforcement life. You know what I'm saying? Because that's all we had. If we want to experience anything, it's gonna be in an exercise. You know what I'm saying? We'll exercise and play about something we'll never really get to experience. But unfortunately, a lot of civilian police departments and everything don't have that opportunity for training and able to, like you walk through a scenario, you walk through a situation, you put somebody on the scene who is with a knife and do whatever. You know what I'm saying? We had time to take the little rubber knife. It's not real life, but you got time to think you've done this before and you didn't shoot nobody. In exercise, we barely ever shot anybody. It came down to, okay, now you shot,
Yeah, I think there's a lot that goes into the different factors. But I see a lot of people got a bunch of questions in these comments.
Yeah. I'm trying to get to them now.
We should maybe we could dive into some of these comments.
Which one you see that you want to? Is there one in particular that stands out?
Well, they all got some questions. One asked, why is asking pull me over a lack of respect? It's not a lack of respect. One is the way you ask. Two is the response when the officer gives you their response or your response or reaction when he takes a while, right? So understand a traffic stop. Every traffic stop is different. Right? And what the public needs to understand that the traffic stop is the most dangerous situation that we will ever enter, right? Traffic stop and domestic violence, right? Because it can escalate so high, right? And it's tough because the average person is a law-abiding citizen, but for us, we don't have that luxury because all we need is that one person that's not a law-abiding citizen that's going to go nuts, right? So for officer, their very first objective when they pull you over is to ensure that the situation is completely safe for them and you, right? There's so much going on, right? If you're on a highway, you got to make sure you're not going to get hit by a car that's passing, right? If you have multiple passengers, they got to make sure that nobody in the car is going to try to get at them while they're trying to deal with you, right? They have to do, their initial investigative, things to make sure your stuff is legit, because you could be somebody that's hiding from, Interpol or something crazy like that. So it's just the way the interaction goes, which is where you start getting into the respect, the lack of respect thing.
And New, can I say something? Like, so we got to understand also de-escalation starts with respect, but it's respect on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Like the verbal judo thing, me talking to you in a way that calms you down, that make you more receptive to what I'm saying. Like if you have a wall up right away, me trying to de-escalate doesn't mean anything. Like the Philly situation, them saying put the gun down, put the knife down. That was a form of de-escalation. You put the knife down, then we're bringing our use of force down. Like it has to. Like, it's not going to be a situation because it's not safe for the cop to say, okay, you have a knife, I'm going to put my gun down.
Right.
And then even with the traffic stops that I was talking to earlier, when I was like, hey, I rolled the windows down, all this other stuff. I've even had a traffic stop where the cop, because it was wintertime, the cop had me come back to his car and sit in the front seat with him. In every circumstance, I had a weapon. Now, of course, I'm not dangerous in that manner. I don't want to cause him harm. But my behavior towards him, because he let his guard down, he put himself in danger.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've had a cop cite me, like write me a ticket, but I was sitting in the passenger seat of the front of his car.
Right.
Now again, we talked, we laughed. I took my citation. I went back to the car and I left.
Right.
But he put himself in a dangerous situation.
Right. Even that's how it was when I got taken to jail. They did not search me or anything, dude. Like I'm in the back of the car. I'm handcuffed. I take my own cell phone out of my pocket and record the situation. You know what I'm saying? But in my mind, I'm like, dude, you putting I could be anybody. You know what I'm saying? I could have anything on me. You putting yourself in danger right now, because I mean that's when I'm talking about tactics, I'm talking about both sides of it. You know what I'm saying? The bad decisions that you make, that you're supposed to know that you're supposed to do on the job to protect yourself first. You know what I'm saying? I want, you know, great tactics, good sound training protects you, and it also protects the suspect, the victim, whoever you're questioning, or whatever it goes. You know, like I said, exactly, it comes full circle. Don't have somebody sitting in your car. You know what I'm saying? I don't care how friendly or peaceful or whatever they look. You're not supposed to have somebody sitting in your car with you writing a citation. You know what I'm saying? Don't overcompensate for, you know, that just don't make no sense.
But the other part is right. Every officer is different, right? Like the three of us respond to the same situation. We respond differently, and the de-escalation is different, right? Because Stu, you show up, right, 6'3", 275 pounds, right? You make a different response to 5'7" me is going to get from somebody or 5'2" female officer.
Right.
I mean that de-escalation. Then it depends on our mental state, right? Our psychological training and what we're prepared for, and what, like you said with the car, what risk we're willing to put ourselves through, right? The public, I think the biggest piece the public doesn't understand, you can't tell somebody what level of risk they have to take.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I can't tell you that. You know what I'm saying? If your life is in danger, I can't tell you that you can't pull out a lethal weapon to match this person's lethal weapon.
Right.
Yeah. Like that don't make no sense.
Another part of like a big part of it too, like to cover, that part of it. But, like I said, as a black man, and how, the Breonna Taylor situation, you know what I'm saying? And how that went down, and how it, when you wonder if you're getting all of the story. First of all, I understand that I might not even be getting all of the story. I try not to be, of course, when it comes out, you kind of feel a little bit biased, but I try to alleviate a lot of my bias by really understanding what's going on, looking at all sides of the picture or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And some people, people will get mad at you for doing, for asking certain questions and being, you know what I'm saying? And like as a cop, or people with experience saying like, hey, boom, that was a good shot. Boom, boom, boom. I would have did this. I would have did that. You know what I'm saying? It's like I said, it's a matter of opinion. I could have said that I wouldn't have shot the guy. And Peen, you could say you would have, because we both have the similar training, but we respond to, it depends on our situation. But the fact of, okay, like I said, the Breonna Taylor situation, or just whether it be law enforcement or government or whatever, the fact of how it seems like here in America, seems like the air that's been given that it's okay to kill black men, black women, and get away with it, or not be prosecuted. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just that same old flavor of back in the day. Like they blame it on the black man, go to court. All the court people are KKK. Like you'll never get prosecuted for it. You'll never get in trouble for it for real. So I feel like just that old feeling comes back up, whether it be valid or not. It's just that feeling of like, what the fuck? Like, come on now. You know what I'm saying? Like at least some type of fair trial or some type of justice that people feel. It's just that old feeling of, that's the way I feel like a lot of people look at it.
So the Breonna Taylor incident, right? I'm about to say something very unpopular.
Yeah, I was waiting to say something too that was going to be unpopular.
Breonna Taylor incident, right? I don't believe any officer involved in the Breonna Taylor incident should have been tried or convicted, except for the ones that shot in the other apartment, right? Let me explain why. Right, and this is the problem I have with our people, with the public, because we need to have a better understanding of how to attack these things. Right, the big thing you have to understand with the police is that it's a PR thing. Right, 9 times out of 10, nobody's getting in trouble unless the public is upset about it. right?
Right.
With the Breonna Taylor, the issue with the Breonna Taylor incident is that they were at the wrong address, right? The officers who entered the room, entered the facility, the apartment, did their job. Who was responsible for choosing the apartment, right? Who was responsible for planning this raid and executing this warrant?
Right.
When the officers are told that they're executing a warrant that a judge signed off on, right, a no-knock warrant, they're doing the job, all right. And when they go into the room or to the apartment, all they're concerned about is clearing this safely, right, apprehend and control the subject, right. If there's a threat, eliminating the threat, right. So everybody's trying to get these officers' head when the person who's really responsible is sitting scotch-free because nobody cares.
Right.
Nobody knows to even ask about that person. Who's the person that planned the raid and picked the wrong person?
Exactly.
That person needs to be held accountable.
Right. You know, that's very true. And I feel, like, because I feel like people miss out on that for whatever reason, is to be understood. It's not, they don't understand the procedure, of, okay, we just went where they told us to go. We were doing what we were on point with what we were told, what we were instructed to do. You know what I'm saying? So it goes back to that person who gave the wrong instruction. And that's where the prosecution and questioning and stuff should start right there. But I mean, like, aren't they coming back and trying to try the boyfriend for shooting?
I don't know.
No, I heard he was. I heard he had gotten locked up for a little bit, but they had let him out. I don't know what they're doing with him. Somebody asked, "What about shooting into a dark apartment without having sight of who was inside or who was armed?"
Well, this is like, I think they broke in. The people, her boyfriend, whoever hold the commotion. Maybe he grabbed his. Maybe he shot first. Did he shoot first?
He supposedly
okay. So he supposedly shot first. So that's the initiation. I'm thinking I'm going into the drug dealers, whoever's apartment I'm going into is drug dealers live here. Drug dealers shoot at cops. It's us against them. So when he starts shooting, they shoot back, regardless of the apartment is dark, light, whatever. Gunshots are being fired at me. I think I'm in the right place. That is how it goes down. Unfortunately, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is just how it is.
I think another thing that's left out of these circumstances is just context. So, like, we've had the ability to go into a shoot house. So we've heard a gunshot ricochet off the walls.
Right.
So we've heard that kind of sound. And to know how that sound is and to know, okay, if I'm at the end of the hallway, I see a muzzle flash and I hear that sound, I don't care. I'm returning fire.
Right.
I need to get out of here.
Right.
That's what's going to happen. I don't think we're giving context purposely. Just like the Philly incident. Like I've seen somebody put something up there. That individual's sister called and said that he was a criminal. He had a criminal record. The medical person was called for his mother because she was about to faint. His father had high blood pressure and they couldn't calm him down. His sister called and said, hey, he has a criminal record. He's done this before. So that's what the cops was going into. We got to put these things into context and understand, because I think the public just looks, again, I absolutely think there's the Walter Scotts. I think there's the George, I think it's I think it's the Eric Garners. We forget about the Eric Garners years ago. Yep. This stuff happens. It's been happening. And that goes all the way back to the origin of the police, who we have police in these neighborhoods, how they don't really care about the people in the neighborhoods. It goes all the way back to that. But we got to put these scenarios into context, because I think if you don't, you get these situations where the public just views that, hey, without no experience, they just view that these guys are just going off and these are kill squads going to different neighborhoods trying to kill people.
Right.
So not saying there's not those bad ones though.
Yeah.
When I taking this situation versus the situation in Texas, I believe it was, where the police officer went into the wrong apartment and shot the guy. You remember that case? I think that was Texas, right? The white female went into the wrong
Yep.
apartment,
Oh yeah, in Dallas. Yep.
inside his apartment. She's like, if one person shoots, it's okay to, and okay, Katrina, you say blindly fire. How do you know they were blindly firing? You know what I'm saying? They was just firing. They were doing what they were taught to do. Even if there are children inside, okay, the scenario they were given is, okay, this is how many, when you before there's recon and there's intelligence that is gathered on, there's supposed to be intelligence gathered on this location prior to. Unfortunately, they got the address wrong, so that flaws the intelligence. But I feel like they knew, okay, if there are any children in the apartment, then you are told about that. If there are, there's an old, like, they've cased out this apartment apparently, so they know who lives there. They're briefing the squad on what to be careful of a lot of the times, or maybe not, but if there are children in the apartment and somebody shoots at the police, then it's still, you got children in here. Why are you shooting at me? You know what I'm saying? You endangering the kids, not me. You endangering the kids. Yep. I'm trying to protect the kids too. There's what are they supposed to do? Just let them, oh, wait a minute, y'all. Let's search the apartment for kids before we try to, how many people gonna get shot in the meantime? That's just how it goes. And like to be able to be there at that exact situation, and it's like once the bullets start firing, you just got to react to it.
And they're not shooting blindly, right? Which is why the officer was hit for shooting into the apartment next door, right? It's not shooting blindly, and it's not. Right, you say shooting into the apartment as if they're outside the apartment. Right, if I'm inside this room and someone is shooting, right, there is very little places for me to go, and very little places for the bullet to go. Right, and if it's dark, it's not blindly because I'm seeing a muzzle flash. So I'm shooting back in the direction I see a muzzle flash. Now, if an officer is shooting blindly where they're spraying and praying all over the place, yeah, they need to be held accountable and dealt with. But no. Let me see.
Yeah, we got T saying the reason for the disconnect is, and people not understanding how policing work is because of lack of community policing. And how true do you think that is? I know you mentioned something about it before.
I absolutely think it's true, but so what do we do about the community policing issue? Like, what do we do? Like, to really. All right, so community policing of years ago went off the broken window theory, where if something was wrong in the neighborhood, you fixed it, you built relationships with the people in the neighborhood, and if something was wrong and there was a bad person, they would let you know, and you could resolve it and keep the neighborhood safe. Kind of like the neighborhood watches of the suburbs. We don't have that. We have the don't respect the cops, whatever the term is. So there's disrespect from the beginning. You have, it's just disrespect. You have people that are supposed to be securing you. They're disrespecting you, but you're disrespecting them. And because we have this no snitching culture, nobody's talking to them. Nobody's saying, hey, can you go get this person that's doing this? So they're walking into a situation that is already kind of puts them at defense, and then you're defensive with them. No, there is no community policing. But we're not raising our boys up to say, hey, go be a police. Even us, even like Johnny said, even me, I was like, hey, I don't want to be a cop because of what's going on with the cops.
Right.
Now, if I was a cop, if I was a sheriff, I would be out there and I would pull people inside and be like, hey, man, chill out. Or I would go talk to somebody's mom and be like, hey, have him turn himself in. I'll take him with me so he doesn't have a situation where he's in trouble or he could get hurt. But I opt out of that because I'm like, I see how everybody's getting treated.
Right. So I don't know what 2010 Picard has against Beverly Hills. It's like you mentioned Beverly Hills and like 2 comments or whatever. But it's hard to compare. You can't compare Beverly Hills to Philly. You know what I'm saying? That's a different. They live it like I've
white collar
different mentality, whole different kind of crime. Beverly Hills had like he said, white collar crime. Beverly Hills has this amount of crime. You know what I'm saying? Like there's people just driving in Beverly Hills, snorting high on cocaine in the car, whatever. They're famous, they're rich. Go ahead, sir. And it's a whole different mentality. It's a whole different beast. You just can't, you know, like it would be nice in a perfect world. Oh, everybody like treat everybody like they get treated in Beverly Hills, but it's just not that way.
I think it goes so much deeper than just lack of community policing, right? It's like Stu said, this is something that started way back, right? And so what I believe the issue is that you have our communities, right? Impact of redlining, right, and all these other programs that have caused us to, you know, be the way our communities are, right? And so in our communities, right, we figure out a way to survive in that community, right? And then you have the police officer, right, who comes from a different community, right, a different situation. At the end of the day, all they want to do as well is survive and provide for their families, right? And they do it in a different fashion, right? And then you put these people together, and now the police are coming to tell these folks who figured out how to survive in their communities that you can't do things like that without showing them any different way. And then the people in our community are like, hey, this is how we live over here, right? Don't tell us how we're supposed to live and survive when you're not helping us, right? And those communities clash when in reality, right, neither one of them are the enemy, right? They're both victims to a vicious cycle in a system that is created and designed to put us against each other, right? You look at our kids. You're talking about, you know, they're not taught respect. I was talking to a friend a few weeks ago. Like, look at our public schools in our urban neighborhoods, right? What are we offering kids, right? We don't have any programs, any extracurricular activities, right? Everything now costs money, right? Like, you know, the stereotype that black guys can't swim, right?
Yeah.
I learned how to swim because at that point in time in my community, they offered free swimming lessons.
Right.
They don't offer that anymore, right? They don't offer these programs, even down to sports. Sports has become, right, a victim of capitalism, where, right, in order to get to a decent training session or learn how to play a certain sport, if you don't have the money, right, you can't figure it out. So these two systems of survival are clashing, and they're just going at each other without either one taking the time to figure out, hey, how are we gonna figure this out, right? Because you got a guy that's just trying to survive in his hood, and you have a police officer who has to work doubles to make ends meet to provide for his family. What do you do for that? Like,
Right.
respect is the least of both of those guys' worries.
Right. I mean, and that's just, you know, it's kind of like, I don't know, like the answer. Somebody comes up with these, you know, reactionary answers of, oh, defund the police or reform the police or do this or do that. And, you know, it's kind of, you know, like I said, if that's maybe your first thought. A lot of times your first thought, you know, there, like I said, as a leader, there's been some times to where hey, I just got to lay down the hammer and be a beast right now. I got to cut everything off. Listen to me. This is a one-way conversation. Boom, 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 bam. You know what I'm saying? But that is always given, like even with your children, you know, and there might be that initial, you know, coming down with the hammer, but it always has to be followed up with some instruction and some understanding and making sure that you understand why you got to this point, what got us to this point. You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like that is something that, you know, there could be a lot more understanding brought to, you know, the public and the police if that was to happen more. You know what I'm saying? If there's more kind of like, hey, this is why that happened, this is what was done, or, you know, like talk about community policing, talking before incidents and not being so reactionary to things, you know. And unfortunately, it's kind of like, okay, you know, like they don't have. It's like gun control. And I was like, Stu, I know you know what I'm saying, you're a gun guy. We've all carried guns, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like it's what it is. And like, you know, like, oh, this gun control, this and that, or blah, blah, blah. You know, unfortunately, guns were invented and Americans like guns. You know, it's kind of like, okay, well, can police carry you know, like rubber bullets or so, like a less than lethal method besides a taser, besides something, or put a rubber bullet or something in the gun so they can stop this situation and stop being like, why does a minor crime end up causing somebody their life. You know what I'm saying? Like regardless, like the Mike Browns and the like whatever situation you want to take. Why does a person have to die in the streets? You know what I'm saying? We're supposed to have due process of law and this, and that, and then they go back up and dig up the he was bad anyway. Blah 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? So pretty much to me, okay, so you're saying he deserved to die? You know what I'm saying? Like that's his environment, or that's where he came up from.
Yeah.
You don't have that leadership in the neighborhood. You know, that's just the systematic. There is no, like I said, between the three of us, we cannot give there's no simple answer, no simple solution to this problem that has been ingrained in the system one way or the other from way back when, you know, and that's a big part of the problem is, you know, so we go into now, this whole election thing and how Trump has run his administration from, you know, from the beginning or whatever. Like, I don't care if you're for him or against him or whatever. My personal opinion is I like people and I respect people who I feel are doing well for others, you know. Oh, my aunt joined in. What's up, aunt?
Hey, Cedric, I'm sorry, man. I made it late.
No worries, no worries. This is my Uncle David. Uncle David served in the Navy. He's a law enforcement guy, whatever. Tell him introduce yourself, aunt.
Hi, my name's David Newton. As you said, I'm Cedric's uncle. I served aboard the USS Lexington from 1976 to 1979, and I'm a graduate of an HBCU, Southern University. And I was in law enforcement for about 30 years. I was a local police officer in Louisiana, and then I went to DEA and I retired from DEA. So now I'm chilling every day.
Yeah, living a life. Yeah, we were just wrapping up, talking about the policing and stuff like that. About we covered a little bit about community policing, just how to make the situation better, and how the division and how like the picture that is being portrayed for America has been put out there. And to me, regardless of there's no one simple answer to it, but where it stands now, I just feel like it's just at a scary point for me. You know what I'm saying? Because, to me, it's kind of like, okay, there's no easy answer to make it better, but it's so easy to make it worse. It's so easy to keep going in the direction that we're going in. It's just so easy for that, and like we coming up on the election, you got, like I said, it's just the United States of America is now the divided states of America to me, because we cannot agree on everything. It's Republican versus Democrat. It's Biden and Kamala versus Trump and his man, and all just this, you got to pick your team, and it's kind of like the whole thing is, it doesn't make it the whole way we do our government is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because to me, like, you should not know which state is a red state or a blue state before things come out. You know what I'm saying? Because, this is a red state, so that's going to put in the mentality of the people, we're red, so I got to vote red. Red is my team, and I'm blue, so I got to be blue. And, you're not really allowed to have, you're thinking freely, but are you really thinking freely? Are you really thinking openly? You know what I'm saying? This guy wants to take your guns away. Is that really what he said? Did he really say he wanted to take your guns away, or does he want to keep guns from getting in the hands of the wrong people? Is this what really this person is saying, or is this just some headline that you got off the news?
Yeah, absolutely.
What you think about it, Stu?
So, and this is gonna be super unpopular. So,
been waiting, Stu. You've been real status quo.
And I, it's crazy over this Trump and this Biden thing. I think I lost a sister over it, where she won't, she doesn't want to deal with me. But this is what I think. I think Biden and Kamala getting elected would hurt, and I'm saying the black culture. I think the black folks. I think it would hurt us because, like, today and yesterday, we're out in the streets and we're cheering as something was accomplished. And that brings our guard down. one thing that Trump did do is he let us know where we're at. We have to understand where we're at. We have to understand that there's been almost no progress in the last 100 years. We got to understand that our great granddad and our great grandma, Pawpaw had land somewhere, and that land's gone. Like, we were building assets in the 30s and 40s. Why is it now that, this younger generation, we don't have anything to leave them? We're not making any progress. We're still asking to be treated fairly. We have all the resources we have all the resources available to build our own wealth and build our own life. Like, when I look at the screen, I see successful men that have, served the military, served the country, and built their life. But when we say, okay, let's elect the individual and let's cheer about it and be happy. Let's elect the individual that kind of wrote the second Jim Crow. When we think about slavery and then black codes and then Jim Crow, what was that next thing that kind of hurt us? It was the crime bills and stuff that carried over. And your uncle could probably expound upon that because of his career, that kind of set generations back. Like, we were talking earlier about how the younger generation, young men, don't have respect. But they don't have dads. They don't have men teaching them things. And I think we need to look less to these politicians to act like they're going to save us, and we save ourselves. We invest in ourselves. We educate ourselves. We build our families. We take care of each other. If our vote is an investment, because that's what it is, our vote's an investment. And like I'm seeing people say, the World War II veterans didn't have access to VA loans. You're absolutely right, but we have access. Everybody on this thing has access to VA loans. Like, we have access to things that we can help build our wealth. And I think sitting up here relying on this one thing, or this one group of people that have shown generations of despising us and not liking us and thinking we won the Super Bowl today. Like, I think, and I said this earlier to my wife, I think the turkey didn't know that they voted for Thanksgiving. Like, I don't think we understand what we might have done.
Yeah, I saw you post that earlier.
I don't think we might understand what we just done. And then now everybody's cheering and everybody, no, there's never been a circumstance.
But isn't that, Stu, isn't that our, as Black people, isn't that our narrative here in this country? Haven't we been doing, isn't that what we always do?
So I think that's us being victim of not really understanding, right? Because, right, you hit it on the nail, Stu, but I'll take you one even further, right? And say that I think our biggest problem is that we view, right, Democrats and Republicans as separate and different, when I believe they're one and the same, right?
Exactly.
So when you look at Biden and Harris and Trump and Pence, right? You tell me a period of time where Republicans didn't benefit from Democratic policies and vice versa, right? The only person who always seems to fall victim is us, right? And you're right. And what really bothers me is that when you look at both sides, when you tell me, like, you're telling me in a country of 350 million brilliant people, the two best candidates you can give me for presidency is Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Those are the two best candidates that you can give me. Right? We're setting ourselves up for failure because we keep subjecting ourselves to the system. And I agree. We don't want to invest in ourselves. Right? The answer is not asking people who have shown a pattern of not caring about how we are to change how they treat us or change how they view us. The answer is invest in ourselves, but we won't even do that. Right? In our communities, when you talk about economic, right? Because the real power is economic wealth, right? We won't even invest in our own communities until some white folks come in and say, "Hey, it's worth putting in our communities now," right? Until they start coming to gentrify our communities, we won't even invest in our own selves. So until we start doing that, and before I say, I feel like gun control is a form of systemic oppression, just for the record.
Yeah, I got
I mean, and I mean, like T says that, okay, T, where you're saying that black people aren't as shallow as we are portraying. I don't. Why do you feel like they're being, or we're portraying them as shallow, or we're not going deep enough, or giving the amount of respect to the situation? The people, okay, I mean, okay, yes, we can repeat that narrative of, yes, local governments matter. We should, the local governments, who's ever running and who's ever being put around for senator, congressman, whatever, from all your district attorneys and all that, those elections matter way more than a presidential election matters or whatever. So, but it is like, those elections a lot of time out, depends on the area that you're in, how much publicity, how much promoting, what I'm saying, they don't get the dollars for running as other people do. And unfortunately, like my god brother was running for government up in Alaska. He was running for a position up in Alaska. I don't know exactly what position he was running for, but the amount of money it takes for him to stay in the game, and like you said, even coming out, okay, we've seen the Ross Perot's, we've seen the Bernie Sanders and whatever, maybe good candidates to some, or at least people who are viable to fill the position in some type of way. But even the heads of the parties, we don't like Bernie, so we're gonna, we're not gonna give him as much play as we give Hillary. We're gonna weed him out of the system or whatever it is, because they're afraid of, like you said, they're all on the same side. And if he comes in with these different thoughts, that's gonna take money out of our pockets too. Even though he's on our side, he's our man, we don't like his views because he's trying to change too much, or he's got this weird way of thinking. So then you get presented a Hillary Clinton or a Biden or some other person that's not really, that looks like the people voted for that person, but that's not even really the person that the people like. And the people don't fight against that. They don't say, okay, we'll erase the board. And like, I'm so tired of hearing voting for the lesser of two evils. We're voting for why do we allow ourselves to be given this, to be fed this, to be given the choice to pick between the lesser of two evils? If we both think they're evil, all right, get them out of here and give us somebody that we want to vote for. You know what I'm saying?
Like when I think of a vote, I think, okay, a vote is you giving away your power for someone to govern over you. So, but I need a return on my investment. Like, if I'm investing in you, I need something. And it seems like every other group gets something for their investment. Like, like with a company, if you have a company, the company is not there for the customer. The company is not there for the employee. The company is there for the shareholder, the person that's investing in them. Mm-hmm. Why don't we ever get anything out of our investment? And I don't believe it's relying on a group's agenda. We have all of the things here. We have, like, in the 30s and 40s, we always talk about Black Wall Street. Like, what's wrong? Our groups years ago, our grandparents years ago, they were buying businesses. They were pooling money together to invest in one person. And then when their business grows, they invest in another person. We have the resources already to start launching ourselves. Why are we waiting on somebody to give us something? Because what happens is they won't ever give us anything, and they'll say, hey, I'm going to give you something. Right.
Or what they give you is a slighted way of still messing you up.
Right. They give you a distraction. You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, like I said, is it systemic? Do you believe it's systemic to where, okay, well, let's put J's and rims and Louis Vuitton and blind them with that stuff, you know what I'm saying? So they won't know to ask for more. You know what I'm saying?
What did Obama give us? He gave us cell phones. You remember?
Yeah.
Obama didn't give us reparations. He didn't give us.
Do you think that was possible? Was it possible for him to give us reparations?
Obama he didn't fund HBCUs. He didn't give us prison reform. He gave us Obama phones.
Right.
Bush let us carry our kids on taxes. We got another tax thing. Like, Hillary had hot sauce in her bag. Kamala's the sister girl and the fraternity girl. Clinton played the sax. Like, nothing tangible is there for us to grow what we have. We have everything we already need. We just need to get together, but we're separate. We're going against each other. We're saying, oh, don't ever go against Kamala, when it's like, don't go against this person, or don't talk nice about Trump, or we are so divided. And I think we're the laughing stock. Because like Biden said, hey, you guys came out, you guys supported me. And you know what's crazy is he never told us what he's going to do for us. And we're like, hey, we're going to hold you accountable. Accountable to what? He never told us anything. So if I don't tell you anything, I don't have to give you anything. There's no expectations. There's no standard to go by to hold me accountable if I didn't say anything. And we're happy right now.
Okay.
To answer, to go off both of what you guys, right, the statements that both of you made, right, especially in reference to, right, so it's tough. And also to answer T. Jackson, we got you, T. You don't gotta yell at Stu. So T, you may be aware that it's still a long fight, but as we sit back, and one of the nice things about our careers in the military is that we chose to take a career in which we work for the government under different rules than the regular population was under, and we were forced to sit back and watch for a long time, right? And when you sit back and watch, to a certain extent from the side, and not being able to voice your opinion and having to just process how things are going, is that you start to recognize patterns, right? And the reason why, to a certain extent, I agree with Stu that it seems like we've acted like we won the Super Bowl, is that we've gone through this pattern and we've seen it before, to where, right, we're demanding something and it seems like we get a little something in it, right? We have a short memory as an American people, right? As time goes on and the narrative starts to shift and the media is not covering it on that level, then we start to forget the fact that this is still a long journey and a long battle, right? But on the flip side, President Trump, I can admit that and accept that he's done some decent things as far as HBCU and prison reform. But on the flip, it goes back to the whole lesser of two evils, is that doesn't excuse all the things that the hatred and the divisiveness that he incites, right? And it's so difficult to see, because you're like, all right, do I go with this guy who clearly is willing to do whatever it takes to win, all right, and doesn't care who he hurts along the way? Or do I go with Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, who have a reputation of not doing anything for Black folks, and some of their policies actually, directly hurt us more than Republican policies? So what do we do there?
Hey, sir, can I say something?
Go ahead.
With the hate, okay, we act like people stopped being racist 2 days ago when the news ordered. I want to know if you don't like me. I would like to know if you don't like me.
Right.
And you know what's crazy? If you don't like me, that's none of my business.
Right.
I'm not going to invest my effort into making you love me. Like, we got rid of somebody, or potentially, I don't know, and we possibly got rid of somebody that would give us some kind of return on our investment. He gave a little money to schools. He gave a little prison reform that kind of benefited. I think 91% of the individuals were Black that had benefited. And he promised, not saying he gave us anything, but he promised $500 billion in capital. Now, everybody talks about Black Wall Street. And again, he might have not given us anything. It might have just been a lie. And it could have been a lie. But $500 billion in capital? You know what other groups have? Capital. That's how they can come in and build a business and grow businesses. I don't care about, as a Black person, this country, you should expect hate. And you shouldn't invest your time into, oh my God, can you love me? No, I don't care if you love me. And it's not my job to make you love me. If you hate me, and I know now because you've told me, then I'm good. I know how to handle you. I know how to approach you. Like these last couple of years, when I talk to people and I see their views, I'm like, okay, I know how to handle you now.
Right. But I'm saying, okay, Stu,
and not to say to you.
Okay, I understand that, but you know what I'm saying, when you're kind of like, okay, I'm not even sure that, like, you want to make them love you, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to make, you know, I don't think that's the part of it. First of all, I feel like, okay, just, take the comment as you will. I feel like Black people, minorities have a greater capacity for empathy than Caucasian or white people or whoever sometimes, you know what I'm saying? On a it just kind of looks that way to me, you know what I'm saying? Because there's no going and conquering and wiping out and making you believe what I believe and blah, blah. Nobody else does that really. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, we gonna live in peace. You be cool, I'll be cool. I got these furs over here. You want to trade them? It's not about it. It wasn't about capitalism, but amongst, you know what I'm saying? It happens in small communities, but like the whole world and the whole spread of it. So when it comes to the military, or it comes to the United States and how we've had this long fight for civil rights, you know what I'm saying? A long fight to be equal. Like, y'all drink from those water fountains. Y'all sit back here. You are only 3/5 a man. We're going to lynch y'all. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Blah, blah, bam. Building up, you know what I'm saying? Everybody, like MLK gets shot, JFK gets shot, whoever, you know what I'm saying? Everybody that try to do something, quote unquote, good for Black people ends up dead or something else, or Black Wall Street gets torn down and this and that. So like, you know what I'm saying, it's still kind of like, okay, if you run, I'm gonna beat you. You know what I'm saying? If you run, I'm gonna whip you, I'm gonna whip you, I'm gonna break you, I'm gonna break you, I'm gonna break you, I'm gonna break you. So it's kind of still finally took down to the point of that there are a lot of people who are still, a lot of that breaking, a lot of that mental thing that lies here in America is still there. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's embedded, and now it's so fucked up because we do it to ourselves. Like, you know what I'm saying? They trained to do it to ourselves, and that's one of the that's one of the major hills, one of the major obstacles that we have to overcome and adapt for. But a lot of people don't really understand it. You know what I'm saying? That's why you're still asking for, it's like you still want them to do it. You know what I'm saying? Because they're the ones, every time one of us try to do it, you die or you get killed or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Or this one makes it, but you take them down or something. It's just like this discouragement and that broken systematic thing that has blinded a lot of people. And I feel like, because when I see like Jamaicans and Haitians and people from communities, even if you go to a predominantly Black city, like you go to DC, you go to Atlanta, like just the vibe that you get being around a place with a lot of Black people is different. You know what I'm saying? And like they communicate, and whether it's good or bad, you can just feel like when I talk to Haitians, when I was in South Florida, they have a lot of pride, they have a lot of understanding of whatever, like knowing this is us, because they've seen, like all the other Black Africans don't like Black Americans, Haitians don't like Black Americans. A lot of other people from other Black countries don't like Black Americans, because I feel like Black Americans have a different mentality that, have been on a different path. And that's why the mentality that we have is what it is now. So it takes a lot of overcoming that and understanding that to be able to push ourselves forward and to understand that, you don't stop, there's an election, but none of these elections are really for us. They're not going to give us anything. They're not really going to they're not in it for us. They've already got theirs. We built this country. They're prospering from it. And the reparations are never going to come. This is never going to come. That's never going to come. What we, like you said, like what we have to do now is start investing into ourselves and start lifting ourselves up and become an actual community again. And it's not like, because it's like that thing, like you said, you might lose a sister because you have a different opinion. Another Black person might not feel like you being Black enough. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, Spike Lee makes all these Black movies, but he married to a white girl. Oh, what's that? He married to a white woman, blah, blah, blah. Like, what's the point? is he speaking? Does some of this stuff speak to you or not? You know what I'm saying? Is he trying or not? You know what I'm saying? Like that really doesn't matter. What matters is the voice, the speaking, the message, or whoever can carry that ball or move the game piece forward for us. And you know what I'm saying? We can't do, you know, that person can't do it by themselves. It's always, we are always looking for one MLK, like one person, just one person, you know, and like, oh, to lead us out of the fucking wilderness. And that one person is really all of us. It takes all of us to in some type of way to understand and to come together in some type of communication to where we understand, because, you know, so you don't see the Jewish community beefing and fighting, and, you know, it's just, it's so deep rooted to, and, you know, it's just, how do you break that? Can it be broken? Are we ever going to be able to accomplish that?
So to your point, right, I agree with the majority of what you said. The issue is that no, like, nobody's working towards changing those things that you talked about. All right, and that's the problem, that we get so caught up in these different things, right? And nobody's working towards changing those things, or even trying to show us, or trying to figure out how to change it. You know what I mean? Like it's a tough battle to fight, but I don't believe it's impossible. I believe it takes something, right? And I think it takes understanding. Back to what I said a little bit before, is understanding patterns, right? Understanding patterns, systems, right? You mentioned MLK, you mentioned Malcolm X, right? You mentioned Black Wall Street, right? And so when you start thinking about what needs to get done, and you talk about what has been done or what has been trying to get done. So, for example, nonprofits. How many civil rights organizations have there been in this country, and for how long? Right? And how long have they been allowed to survive? Right? So clearly, just that aspect, and I'm not saying that they're not good, that we don't need them, right? We do, but clearly, them by themselves is not the answer, is not the solution, right? Because we've had NAACP forever, right? What is it, the Live Action Network? Right? There's a laundry list of civil rights organizations that have been around since before, right, those segregation days, and time, and it almost seems as if things have gotten worse. But the MLK and the Malcolm X and the Black Wall Street and the what was it, in North Carolina, down there, the town that was pretty much a coup that was ran by all Black people, right? The things that actually matter is the economic change, right? Because if you start looking at when MLK started, when he was assassinated, his tone changed, right? The things he started talking about started changing, right? Same with Malcolm X. When he was assassinated, his tone started changing, right? And so until we start collectively coming together to do the things that change our economic status in this country, nothing's gonna change. And to T. Jackson, who keeps she says local elections matter. I agree. I believe local elections matter more than national elections, right? Because when you start talking about, an example would be voter suppression, right? We talk about voter suppression as if it's a national issue. It's not. It's a local issue, right? Because states and local counties are the ones that determine where the polling locations are, right? How many polling locations they're going to have, the hours and the wait, right? So I agree with that. In our schools, I don't think we pay enough attention. I know I don't pay enough attention to our school board, which I'm starting to do, right? Because that's important, right? Because what happens in our schools matters to our kids down the line.
One of my great questions is, when we asked for integration and such things as that, do you think we asked for the wrong thing? We wanted equality, right? So we wanted equality, but we wanted to go to their schools and be allowed in their things. Do you feel like we could have gotten equality, you know, keep it, okay, we'll stay in our schools, we'll teach our kids, but just give us the curriculum and the training and that, and so on and so forth?
I mean, I think integration hurt us because I think we lost our independence. Like, I think we got to realize, okay, Martin Luther King's his dream has been realized. We're living his dream. We
Mm.
can go and eat beside him. We can drink from the same water fountain. We can do all those things. But I think we lost our independence. We became reliant on other groups to kind of help us and carry us along. When this fluid system of capitalism allows you to build yourself. It allows you to buy assets, buy land. It allows you to educate your children. If your children don't go to the right schools, then when that kid comes home, you can help that kid. You can teach them the subjects. You can interact and get them over whatever hump that the school's not helping them. But I do think integration, I think thinking that, hey, this water's wetter over there or the ice is colder over there made us lose our independence, because now we're just happy to be in the room.
Right. So now, but saying that, you know, and that's what I was saying. Like, are we still doing that today? We're still asking for the wrong, expecting the wrong thing.
I think we just want to be like our clothes. Like, remember back in the day, we had FUBU and Karl Kani. We had our own clothes, and now we like, hey, I want some Louis Vuitton. I want Hermes. I want their clothes.
Yeah, let's boot
like
their
them.
company.
I want to be like them. I want to drive their cars. I want to be part of them. I think we lost that, because I think years ago we had Black businesses before integration. We had taxi cab businesses, bus businesses. We had our own, and I think they saw that, and I think they said, "Hey, that's a lot of revenue right there. Let's integrate them. Let's get that revenue over here," and their businesses shut down. I mean, I don't know that for facts. So I won't state that, but I'm saying we lost our independence, and
Okay.
and we've become the consumer group of this company. I mean, of this country, where we consume everything. We have all this spending money, but we don't have any assets. We have no wealth, and we haven't grown any wealth over the last 60 years. We've grown almost no wealth, but we're this huge consumer group that have all this money to spend, and we're not gaining anything.
I don't think I agree that I believe integration hurt, but I don't believe integration by itself hurt. I believe our lack of understanding of what the integration needed to look like hurt us, right? Because to a certain extent, right, we don't have enough. Right, we're a really small population, right, compared to the white population, right? There are certain things that we need to integrate in order to survive. That's just the way of the world, right? Even now in the global economy, right? That's just kind of what it is. But understanding, I listened to Louis Farrakhan talk some years ago, and the problem with integration, it wasn't just that integrate, it was that we stopped frequenting, right, Black establishments, right? And it goes deeper than that, right? Because then you start to look at, right, back to capitalism, which, all right, hopefully nobody doesn't think I don't like capitalism. I do, right? But if you don't have a deep understanding of this capitalism system, right, then those who have the assets that Stu talks about can create a system in which we can't compete, and that's what happened, right? Because as a consumer, right, on the average things that I want to get, I'm not looking at who owns it. I'm looking at what I can afford and what I can get for my dollar, right? So when you create a system in which those without the resources have to compete with those with endless resources and can pump things out at a lower price and a higher rate, we can't compete. Right? That system of competition, it ends up not even being a competition when you get to that level, right? And so that it ends up being so much deeper than just that.
Right. I mean, you know, and like that's why, you know, I had you guys on here. I wanted you guys to come together because, like I said, you have great opinions, you have great views, and you know what I'm saying. And I feel like, you know, I feel like both, you know, you speak from your heart, and it's just really, you know, good to get this stuff out there and talk about it. So, you know, we're gonna. I only expected to run about an hour or so, but we're going into an hour and 38 minutes here. You know what I'm saying? And it's great conversation. You know what I'm saying? We need to do this more often. We're going to wrap it up. I know you came in late on the conversation, but you know, as far as what you've heard so far, do you have any closing thoughts? Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, I think everything. I think everything has been said. That it's this is really deep stuff you guys are talking about. I mean, it's economically we're bottom feeders. We've been bottom feeders for a long time, and it's interesting to see that other cultures come into America and they move into our neighborhoods and bring their businesses, and now and then we start supporting them.
Yeah.
But as a people, we don't. Well, nowadays it's hard to identify the black community because everything is so integrated. It used to be a long time ago when I was growing up, there was a black community black community where black people lived, where when someone did well, the whole community was happy. On the other hand, when someone went out and did something wrong, the whole community felt it also. Where someone down the street could chastise you when you did something wrong and go home and tell your and when you got home, your parents were waiting on you because they heard about what you did and you got a little bit more. But we don't have that anymore, and we've got to get to a point where we can come together as a people and and formulate a plan as to how we can get some economic power, because when you don't have any economic power, you're doomed to the lender, and that's where we are. And I mean, I wish I'd gotten on here earlier, but I didn't. I've been quiet because I don't like to come into the latter part and start to say
Yeah.
anything. So I hope that you invite me again. I've enjoyed listening to you guys because you're very intelligent. I thank you.
We,
Thank you.
we appreciate you. I appreciate you joining in when you could. And like I said, I've always looked up to you, and like appreciated and respected the way you lived your life and the route you've gone, and everything. So I appreciate you joining in. Tapine, what's your wrap up?
My wrap up. Well, first, I mean, definitely thanks, man, for inviting me. I know I've been out of pocket for a little bit. Getting settled in here with the family back in Jersey. So appreciate you inviting me, Stu. Always good hearing you preach the gospel. We definitely need to link up. Uncle Dave, I don't know what you call him, but appreciate you. We definitely appreciate your wisdom. We wish we had more time with you for sure. And Stone Cold made a few comments I wanted to respond to. So one, the Orlando Magic comment. No, I don't approve of that, Stone Cold. So no excuse. Obviously, it's just another product of our folks, trying to find wins where they can, which doesn't make sense and it's not excusable. So no, it's not okay to cheer for somebody who got hurt because you don't agree with their views. So I just want to make sure I didn't skip over that for sure. Like I said, everything's great. Leadership matters, man. Leadership matters. Down to the family, to the community, right, and all the way up to the national level. Even more so, it matters for leaders to come together. And we definitely need more of these conversations, but not just the conversation. We need more of these conversations in action, right? Some level of execution. If you choose to do this again, man, I'm down for any time. I got Misfit Leadership. Check me out at misfitleadership.com. And I got some big things coming down. Working on launching a business out here in Jersey with the fam myself to see if we can execute some of the things that we talked about today. So appreciate you guys, man. I love you.
Appreciate it. All right, Stu, what's your wrap up, man?
All right. Again, said, I mean, I'm glad you called me up and let me come on. It's been a while since I've seen you and Peen, and that was one thing I always enjoyed. As much as I didn't enjoy the military, that was one of the things that I enjoyed is sitting around y'all and holding court, but also getting educated.
Yeah.
And with your uncle being here, there's always like when we can get an individual that has experience and knowledge, and anything they say, I try to hang on to. The only thing left I can say is that I hope we can get out of this mindset that we're in as a people.
Right.
And I say as a people, not to not to not include anybody else, but because I'm concerned about our people, and I think it's okay to be selfish for your group when your group is in an urgent situation.
Right.
So I hope we can do this in the future, and I hope I don't know. I think this is a good thing. I think we should do this in the future. Just
Yeah,
to
I
hear
mean,
everybody's opinions and stuff, just to share.
right. Like I said, I definitely appreciate you guys being on here. I appreciate everybody that commented and liked and shared the conversation and participated. My first time doing this live streaming. I mean, I feel like it's been a pretty good turnout, and I got a lot of good comments on it. So I mean, I think it'll still be up. So if you want to share it with somebody, and they can still view it after we stop the live broadcast. I believe, like I said, it's my first time using it. So I'm not too sure, but thank you for all you watching. Thank you for tuning in. This has been a great conversation. So if tomorrow I post something stupid and silly that's totally opposite of what I'm talking about right now, don't overuse me because I am a comedian. And that's how it goes. Don't forget to check out misfitleadership.com. Y'all got anything to plug, Stu? Stu, I mean, like you gonna have to start your podcast, Stu. That's what we need to see. We need to don't stir the stew. We'll help you come up with a title for it, something like
I'm
that.
with it, man.
All the time. But yes, we definitely got to do this again in the future. Y'all have a great week. Enjoy your family. Stay safe out there, and thank everybody for tuning in. With that being said, we out.
All right.
Catch you later.